Thanks for the chance to speak here. Friends, dear friends and colleagues, I speak, let's say the Bosch discussion is going on. I take the occasion of the topic of our meeting and, of course, the wonderful situation that having that exemplary show of Bosch paintings all together. You have already seen this morning, and there are only very few things missing. Nevertheless, what I want to do in the next minutes is to show you the differences which can be observed in the core paintings, and bring not slides but images from just the most well-known things, like the Wayfarer from Rotterdam, the Lisbon painting, the Garden of Delight, the Vienna triptych, which is unfortunately not here, the hay wain, and that gorgeous Epiphany or Adoration of the Magi from the Prado. When I was for the opening, I had the chance to get very early a catalog, and I was very puzzled when I opened the catalog to have this detail, and just very few pages later another detail. Because both, if you come closer with your eyes, they are very different. And so the question comes up, how can one explain these differences? And if you go closer into these, then I think it needs not so many words for the differences. And if you look how they are linked with other parts of heads in the Bosch paintings, attributed paintings to Bosch. This is a head from Vienna, from the triptych in the Academy. I show you another one from the Prado Adoration, or the wonderful London painting. And you see there is a certain line. There's a very fine execution in everything, and especially in small... Push. Yeah, this was a lot. You can push. Yeah. So you can easily follow if you look, for instance, to the eyes. The white dot is even everywhere. So even the sketchiest forms like this head from the garden is very detailed in execution, in the lips or the shading of the nose, and especially in the eyes, you can see that very fine. It differs enormously with a detail, for instance, from the Ship of Fools from the Louvre. It's hard to believe it's the same painter. But this matches a little bit better, and it matches even more better with a detail from the Lisbon painting, which I have here. And if you go on, both have these button-like eyes and the way the straight nose, that everything is in the painting technique so close that one really can say there is a common level in that. And if we take the Lisbon painting, then the Lisbon lady is accompanied by a man with his eyes wide open. And exactly this characteristic way you can find also in a head from the hay wain. Not only this one, but I look this as a, I think, speaking example. You see, especially the way how the eye is made with a black dot and this moon-like curve above. Just to compare how Bosch is going in the Garden of Delight to make such a head. The differences are, I think, enormous. This is a detail from the Epiphany you have seen this morning, and it also shows how carefully Bosch works out his heads compared with the hay wain or the Lisbon painting. But it matches much better, especially the ladies. If you go again back and to the ladies of the Haywain, you see the pattern like, it's the same kind of the nose, and it's a little bit flat face. And interestingly, you find a very similar way and form in the London drawing of the entombment. This is so not only clothes for the ladies, but also for other heads from the Haywain, like this or that one. So one can imagine there is a certain line. They have something in common. If you show again another detail, Eve from the Garden of Delight, then it becomes clear that it's hard to believe that it's by the same painter. The detail you see here is a reproduction from the recent catalogue of the BRCP. These four heads are put together to argue that they belong together, they're the same. I think at first it would have been good to add one more head from the Vienna painting, because that really fits in that selection. And if you go closer into these heads, then you find differences again. And I think the differences come out better when you blow them up and when you order them a little bit new. Because if you have these both heads next to each other, it becomes more clear that they are quite rough in painting, in contrast to this head from the earliest painting, which we know by Bosch. That's the Metropolitan painting. And this detail from the Rotterdam St. Christopher. I think it's easy to see that the three heads on the bottom line form again one line in detailed versions, while the other, the upper line is a little bit rough in painting. And this comes out even stronger if you blow them up again a little bit to see the details a little bit better. And then you, for instance, can compare again with the Haywain, and you will recognize the way in which the eyes are formed is exactly, or is so similar that it is so different, for instance, from what Bosch is doing in such small heads, that one is really puzzled. Coming back to this and taking now images or details from the Garden of Delight, then you see how much these are closer and how better they match. Look again at the eyes and the forming of the eyes and how the glance of the eyes is set with white dots. So this is the line which belongs together. So we have now these four in order in that way. That means these are the heads of the kids. These are more or less derived from different families, so to say. The one is the family of the Garden of Delight. The other is more belongs to the Haywain tribe, so to say. This is not the same. So what we have seen before, these four together, this is cannot be accepted. It has no chance to survive, I would say. A quite speaking detail is this skater from the Lisbon painting, and is in as far especially interesting as we have a skater in the Garden of Delight as well. And one can see the differences in such blown up details, but even better if you enlarge them again. And then you can see how rough the painting style in Lisbon is, and even how generalizing and so less detailed such a nice boot in Lisbon is painted against such a detail from the Garden of Delight, which is nearly a technical painting, which would allow to to work out such a boot in each detail, and it would work. The garden, the heroine is a quite interesting object in many respects, and it's also interesting comparing with drawings. You have in the drawings, you have this tiny figure, and I compare the instrument. If you blow up a little bit, then you see that pattern. If we take the same detail from the lute player underneath, then it becomes clear that there's also, so to say, the same hand. The loose strings, they wouldn't produce a tone if somebody would try. On the other hand, if you go into the Garden of Delight, you suddenly see how Bosch is going to do such a thing. The strings are clear, and here you can really make music. The same you can find with all the heads. You see on the top line heads, faces by Bosch, which have all a psychological expression, and underneath it's more a pattern-like stereotype way in doing such faces with open mouths, which look a little bit, let's say, stupid. You can see the same in hands, so I do not bring such details in masses. It's enough, I think, to show one that right. I mean, they are inscribed. It's not necessary to. It's especially revealing, I would say, if you can compare the same objects, like here the birds. Both are quite big in the garden and in Lisbon. And that shows the difference, I think, very clear. It's very hard to believe that both are painted by the same artist. The same with the skull of a horse. You have the same motive. And then the drawings. A few drawings are for sure, I would say. So you have on the left a drawing from Rotterdam, right? One sketch from a sketchbook sheet from Berlin. I'll show you another one from Berlin. This belongs to Berlin as well. This is also exhibited sketches with St. Anthony from Paris. And of course, the probably most important, the tree man from the Albertina. And the tree man, I'll come later, and I show from the newly attributed drawings only 4, altogether I think there are 8 or 9, which the BRCP project attributed anew. You have already seen a detail from that London drawing. Then this is a drawing from the Louvre. And this is the discovery of the BRCP, the hell scene. And there's a last and fourth I show from these new attributed drawings. Again, a drawing from the Albertina is the man in the Beekoff is a used name. And I said that Vienna drawing is the most important, is probably the reason, because in this case we have really the parallel forms, and one can compare, and it makes us quite sure that both are by the same hand, and this gives us an idea how Bosch really worked with the pen. And this also can be the basis for further attributions, and we can already start in a way. This is a detail from Berlin. You have the tree man, and a detail from the owl's nest from Rotterdam, but I think these 3 next to each other show you the same hand, the same line, the same dynamic form. One can also add a detail from a drawing in Berlin. That's clear. This is the same hand, the same draftsman. And now we can start a little bit more to compare with a detail from the tree man and, for instance, with the newly attributed hell scene. You probably can already see with first glance that it is quite clear how Bosch organizes his lines and makes a transparent gives a transparent picture of such a subject, while in the detail on the right, it's a little bit a chaotic form of lines. The BRCP project argues with such images the same hand, because the motifs are the same or similar. And this is argument enough to give it to Bosch. But if you go a little bit more into detail, like this figures climbing a ladder, and you take a similar motif from the tree man, then I think this is absolutely clear that cannot be the same draftsman. The same you can show with birds. This is from the hell scene. This is a detail from the London, from the Berlin drawing. This is a detail from Bosch's Garden of Delight. So they all show how far away the drawing from Bosch's hand is. The basket is appears quite often in Bosch's paintings and drawings and the material attributed to him. And this is a detail from the Vienna triptych, which is unfortunately not here, but you can see how clear the basket is designed and how clearly the wicker work is given with white or brown lines. And a similar basket appears in the Haven outside, and also in Rotterdam. And if you compare the material, then you will find in the Vienna drawing as well a basket, so you can compare which basket the drawing fits better. This is quite interesting to see the Louvre drawing, because I take this figure out, and if you see that how she's balancing that curve on her head, it's really dangerous. It has no chance to be in a stable position. If one compares Bosch, for instance, the Vienna triptych, then you see how he's able to make such a bowl rest on the head, because he knows how, with shadow in the right position, to give it a stable rest. And interestingly, we have also that motif in the Lisbon painting. And if you compare the differences, how these bowls are on the head, I think that speaks for itself. Because also in other details, we know how Bosch knows how he has to do that such objects rest. And the same can do with another detail. It's from the same drawing. The tray on the back of that which old woman has no chance to stay a little bit longer on her back, but Bosch knows how to make such an egg rest on one's back. Left and right-handedness is inborn. I think you can see that Dürer is right-hander, so his lines, his hatching, go usually from top right to bottom left. Leonardo is left-hander, and the hatching goes the other direction. And I say this and I bring this because we can see the same in the Bosch material. So the Rotterdam Pedler has a left-handed underdrawing, and Bosch, as you can see on the detail from the Vienna drawing, from the tree man, is right-hander. And in this respect, in this connection, the London drawing is seen as far very important and interesting, because she's a left-handed drawing as well. If you compare the lines, I mean, it's it's not necessary, I think, to show that they all go in the left-handed way. And if we have a look, for instance, in the underdrawing of the Vienna Christ carrying the cross, it's also a left-handed underdrawing, which goes clearly together in details with this. And the same we have with the hay vane. The hay vane left wing, if you see the angel in the paradise, is clearly a left-handed underdrawing, and of course what we have already seen. And now in this connection, it is also interesting to have a look on that part, and I bring it a little bit bigger. No, there's something wrong. I need help. Bring it back. One is missing. I'm ready. That's the last. No.
What did you want to do?
The next. It's good.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah. So if we, I mean, with the detail on your side. The detail is also left-handed from the Lisbon painting, but what I want to show here, it was a blown-up detail from the drawing, is that the man's head and bottom is very close to the head and top, and if you blow it up and you give it next to each other, you can compare the many details which you have in common. So you have the lines on the forehead in both. You have this broken eyelid line. You have some hatching on the cheek. Especially speaking is the strong neckline, the muscle here. So it's a number of things which really correspond so closely that drawing and painting have to do with each other. And the same you can show with the lady above. It's the right wing of the Lisbon painting, and you see the small lines and nose, eye and mouth. This is the same hand. So I think after, according to my opinion of such details, I would order the material anew in another way. I would say do not all belong together, but together belongs these three, and Rotterdam, Lisbon, and the hay vane are from another hand. You have the chance to prove it now in the exhibition. Thank you.